Get more perspective on China's landmark decision to end its one-child policy. Joining me in the studio is Haiyan Wang. She's a managing partner at the China-India Institute here in Washington, D.C. Also joining us from Beijing is a frequent guest, Victor Gao. He's a current affairs commentator. Victor, Haiyan, welcome to you both. Haiyan, let me turn to you. I want to talk about the social aspect of this. The one-child policy, was the norm for so many years.
Yes.
Do you think it will be changed for couples to change their mindset and open their minds to perhaps having more than one child?
Well, if you look at the other countries across the globe, regardless of religion, regardless of culture, regardless of geography, that as people get more affluent, as people get more educated, the birth rate declines. So that has been happening even in places like Africa, where rich families just don't produce more babies. So we will have to wait to see how much of an impact it will actually produce. And on top of that, there is real concerns about the costs for raising a kid and sending the kid to good colleges and finding jobs and et cetera. So because of overall the rising income, and I think that the impact may not be as significant as we wish to have, as we have already seen last January when the policy was relaxed. We didn't see that much eagerness to have the second child, even for families who are allowed to. And I think that Victor talked about the government providing more incentives, but we have to ultimately leave the choices to people. Now, what explains the fact that after January last year's relaxation of the one-child policy, we didn't see that many educated urban couples who are allowed to have the second child to jump on the bandwagon. And that is that if you look at the trend, the world population growth has been declining. That's primarily because of the fertility rate across the board. Rich economies, emerging economies has been declining. As people's education go up, as income go up, and people want to have more fun. And then the fertility rate goes hand in hand with declining with rising income, actually. And I think this is a very wise decision, socially and human rights-wise. And also, it is a very wise decision economically. And in the immediate term, it would definitely boost consumption. Because when people don't have to worry about not having enough kids to take care of them, then they consume more, they spend more, and boost to all the children-related education, and etc. Because the kids would not become a workforce until some 20 years later. So in terms of reversing the declining trend of workforce, that impact will only happen some 20 years later. And long-term wise, it is good because we know that GDP growth will come from the growth of investment, growth of productivity, but growth of population will also boost the GDP growth. And I also think that long-term wise, it will reduce the welfare burden as well, because an aging society just needs more support from the central government. That put enormous pressure on enhancing the public debt, and China's debt level is already pretty high. So a lot of these positive political, economic impact will occur some 20 years down the line. But right now, everybody welcomes that decision. We just need to see how many jumps on the wagon of producing babies.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much.